Bonjour et bienvenue à Gourmet. Today, we're continuing with mastering the art of French cooking, where we'll be making, actually, an eggs Benedict. Now, this isn't really a recipe in this book, but what is they have hollandaise sauce, and then there's poached eggs. So that's what we're going to make. Reason being we're doing two at once is because there's a whole chapter on like the mother sauces and all these different kinds of sauces. And I thought, well, if I'm going to make one, I might as well make something to go with it. And I've never made a hollandaise, and I know it can be temperamental, so that's what we're going to go for. And then I figured what goes with hollandaise better than eggs Benedict? Not much. So that's what we're going to do. Hope you enjoy the ride. So we've gotten a little prep started. What I've done is I've toasted our English muffins. I've got some Canadian bacon in the oven, getting a little crispy. We do need 6 to 8 ounces of melted butter. So I went ahead and just pre-melted that because everybody knows what melted butter looks like. And now we can officially start with the hollandaise. First, we need to crack 3 eggs because we need 3 egg yolks. So I'm going to go ahead and do that like I always do. I'm just going to use my hand. Get all of that, and we'll transfer those yolks into the pan. What we're going to do with our egg yolks is whisk them. So I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of an overhead. I'm going to hold my phone and do some overhead whisking. But what we're doing is we are trying to get these guys. We don't want to heat them up. We don't want to cook them. Per the recipe, we just want to beat them until they become thick and sticky. So I'm just gonna now this is supposed to take a minute or two, so I will see you guys when we are done in about a minute. So here's what our egg yolks look like. They're a little thicker. They're definitely, I mean, I don't really know what she means by sticky, but they're thicker. I beat them for about a minute and a half. Yeah, so they don't look bad. What we're going to do now is we're going to add a tablespoon of lemon, a tablespoon of cold water, and a tablespoon of salt. So it's cold water, lemon juice, and salt. All of them are tablespoons, and we're going to just combine them in here and whisk for about 30 seconds to a minute more. We're, of course, making the hollandaise first because that's going to be easier. I can let that sit on the stove, and then we can do our poached eggs. So that's where we are. I'm going to go ahead, get my tablespoon of water. This is a half tablespoon, so that's why I'm doing it this way. I'm just going to eyeball the salt. And then I'll measure out my tablespoon of lemon juice. You, of course, can use fresh lemons. I already had this. Really, the only thing I had to buy for this recipe, minus the English muffins and the Canadian bacon, which are technically not in the book because that's not the recipe we're making, I just had to buy eggs. So it's pretty simple. And now I'm going to whisk this again. And you can kind of see the lemon juice definitely curdled a little, and I think that's what we're trying to beat out. Because the more I beat, the more that goes away. This is we beat it a little longer, but this is our egg yolks, our water, our lemon. And now we are going to add a tablespoon of cold butter, which I have kept in the fridge. It is pre-measured. I am using a European style butter. I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like real quick. So this is the butter I'm using. It's this Kirkland grass-fed butter, but it's a knockoff of that Kerrygold butter. I figured since this is a French cookbook, I'll use a higher fat content butter, which is kind of like a what they'll use over in Europe. So that's what we're looking for. Now I'm going to put this over low heat, and hopefully everything thickens. So we're just kind of stirring it, and it says it's supposed to... Oh, I need 2 tablespoons of cold butter. I don't know. So this recipe book, let me show you guys, kind of does a weird thing where instead of giving you all of the measurements at once, it goes in steps. So you can see we're right here with this table. Can you see? Sort of. We're here at this tablespoon of butter. It looks like I'm going to actually need another tablespoon of butter. So I'm going to go ahead while this slowly melts. I'm going to cut another tablespoon of butter. So this is just it. We're just melting that butter. It's going pretty slow, but you can see everything's thickening up a little bit from where it was. I don't think anything's thickening too quickly. The recipe does say if it's thickening quickly, take it off the heat and plunge it in some cold water. I don't think anything's happening too quickly, but who knows? But our butter is almost melted. My pan is, I think, just a smidge too big, but that's okay. We're supposed to use like a 4 to 6 cup medium saucepan. I mean, I think this is probably 6, but I think I would have rather used a 4. But what we're doing is we're looking to see as we drag our whisk through that we can kind of see the bottom of the pan. Now, here's what this looks like. You can kind of see how it's gotten a lot thicker than it was before. I know not necessarily a lot, but it is thicker. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off, and we're going to go and add that cold tablespoon of butter. Okay. And then it says to whisk in the cold butter off heat. If my pan's not hot enough, I am going to have to kind of stick it back on to get the butter in there. And our butter is almost melted. And I know they're not super thick, and I know this is very loud, but when I do that, you can actually see how they more so hold shape than before, and that's what I think we're looking for. Our butter is all melted in. You can see this is a lot thicker than it was before, and it holds its shape better. So what we're going to do is we're going to begin whipping in our melted butter. So just a little at a time, because once again, you don't want to cook the egg yolks and curdle anything. You just want to have a thick sauce. So that's what we're doing. I'm going a little bit at a time, just a splash, really. Just to kind of, we're really tempering these eggs. Now, I'm not going to be able to show you an overhead shot of what this is doing, unfortunately. But right now, they don't look any different. Okay, so that's going to be it for my butter. I'm going to whip this in real quick. I know I lost some butter to the side, but that's okay. I don't even know if you can hear me. This whisk is so loud on this pan, but that's okay. But look at that. We have hollandaise. Look at how nice and thick and creamy that is. We really did it. What I'm going to do now is add a little bit of pepper, add a little bit of salt, and taste. Just because I think it'll need it. I think everything needs a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. I am going to whisk that together, Then I'm just doing this off the heat again because we don't want to cook it. Guys, it's taste test time. Oh, that's good. I think it's maybe a little salty. But that's obviously me. That's user error. But that's hollandaise sauce, guys. We made it. We made hollandaise. I am going to add a little bit more cracked pepper. I think just to offset that salt a little bit. But yeah. I can't believe we did that. It was, I guess it was technical. It wasn't necessarily hard. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit that on this burner for now, because this is just a keep warm burner on my stove. And you can keep the hollandaise warm per the cookbook for like up to an hour. Okay, so we're kind of getting set up for our poaching of eggs. I've got some fresh eggs, got my slotted spoon. I have about 2 quarts of water in this pan. Per the recipe, you need 1 tablespoon of vinegar per quart of water. So this is supposed to help the eggs hold its shape. So I'm going to go ahead and add 2 tablespoons of vinegar. And I know what you're saying. That was 4. These are half tablespoons, so it's not a whole tablespoon. If you've been here before, you know I can't find my full tablespoon measurement. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of stir the hollandaise we made, just so it warms evenly, I guess is what we're going for. Gonna get my eggs ready. So pretty much poaching an egg shouldn't be very hard, but it's very technical from my understanding. I've never poached an egg, so it might be really easy. I don't know. But we're gonna get water and we're gonna bring it to a simmer, and then we basically crack an egg in and hope for the best. So our water is almost to a simmer. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of turn that down a little bit. What I'm going to do is get my egg ready to go. Now, the recipe is saying just to crack it into the bowl. I don't trust myself to do that. I know how I crack eggs. So I'm going to crack my egg into this and then dip that into the bowl. So I am cheating a little bit. But it is what it is, right? And then we're just going to see how this first one goes without doing anything to it. And then if we can't get it, I know I have seen chefs before kind of crack the egg, drop it, and then stir to get like a whirlpool effect to make sure everything comes together. So that's going to be our second choice, which is not in the book, but hey, it's what it is. Now, once the eggs are done, I do have this bowl of cold water over here just to dump them in to kind of stop that cooking process. And it'll rinse off any of the vinegar if there is vinegar still on the egg. So, okay, so here we are. Our water is simmering. I'm going to drop the egg in, and then I'm going to try to get some footage overhead just if we can see it. But there's a lot of steam, so who knows? I'm not making any promises. But yeah, I'm going to get my spoon ready so that I can just plop in my egg. And then we want to try to fold over the white. I don't think we're doing a good job, because that floated and the yolk definitely sank. Well, that's why we buy more eggs. I'm just going to get this out because it's finished. It's done. We have our white. And then we have our yolk. Neither the two shall meet. Yeah. That didn't work. They're separate. You don't even need to see it. I was going to show you. You don't even need to see it. You saw it. I mean, it was white and yolk. It did not stay together. So we're going to try this again. We bought a lot of eggs to practice with, so that's good. Let me get this out. And maybe because I'm pouring it, I don't know what I'm doing. But I'm going to go ahead and kind of start giving this like a swirl. So that maybe it will just kind of envelop itself. We're just going to do this, and I'm going to go bloop right in there. No, it broke again. Well, it kind of stayed together. Some of the outer white definitely broke off. But I think this one's at least enveloped a little more. Here's our second attempt at poaching an egg. You can kind of see it, kind of not. There it is. I don't really know what we're doing. Our first one did not go well, but this one is hopefully going better. So we kind of did it. It's a poached egg. I'm going to put this in the cold water. It's just been about 3.5 minutes, but my water got a little hot, so I took it off early because you still want the inside to be runny. But I'm going to try it again. See if we can't do better this time. And I had good luck with the swirling method, so I'm going to do that again. Just kind of get our water. Actually, I might turn it back up. Get it a little hotter. Because I want to create like a little whirlpool in the middle so that everything just cooks in that. Boop. Okay, so we still had the same problem. There's some whites that definitely do not really want to cook with it. I don't really know how to fix those, but maybe this one's going to be even better than our second one. So we'll give this one 3 to 4 minutes, and I will see you guys then. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to show you what we did with our first and second eggs. So I guess here they are. You can see they're pretty similar. That front one's the first one. And then this one's our second one. We definitely got more of the egg white on the second one, but it's not as pretty, it's not as put together. So I'm going to use the first one, and I'm going to go ahead and make our little eggs Benedict. Okay, so I've got my English muffin, my Canadian bacon. I've got the egg. I'm going to go ahead and just get our hollandaise on top. Kind of smother it because we made a lot of hollandaise and it's just me eating one of these. Maybe two. Okay. Look at how pretty she looks. Is our hollandaise and our poached egg on our eggs Benedict. This is the moment of truth. We're going to see if it cuts and we have a runny yolk. Look at her. Beautiful. I'm just going to rub this in. See if I can get a little bit of the toasted. No, I toasted that too much. I'm going to need a knife. But here's our egg. That is good. Like I said, the hollandaise is a little salty. That's on us. But I had eggs Benedict the other day for breakfast at a restaurant, just in preparation for this because I hadn't had it in a long time. And I gotta say, that tastes almost identical. So it looks like we did it. That's exciting. I definitely thought these were going to be a lot harder than they were. Not that poaching an egg is easy. I definitely struggled with it, as you saw. But I think there's little things, little tips and tricks you can do to make it easier. And I owned all of these ingredients minus the eggs. I just had to go out and buy more eggs. But But really, I used 5 eggs total. I bought extra just in case I messed up. But I owned all of this at home, which was really nice. It's just you go low, you go slow, and I think you won't have a problem with any of these recipes. So because it's a little salty, I can't give it a 10 out of 10. Um, that's my fault. Next time, I think I'll be able to fix that and make it a 10 out of 10. But this one, I think I'm going to give it like a 9.5. It was. I went into it thinking it was a lot harder than it was going to be. It was pretty easy. The recipe was super nice to follow, although, I don't necessarily like the layout of the book, but it's how old? Exactly. So, yeah, I gotta say, this one was quite the success. I'm proud of us.